Hi there Year 8 and welcome to the second demonstration on how to draw an isometric clock using Microsoft PowerPoint. If you haven't gotten to this stage, then you'll need to go back to the old video and get to this point before the next stage will make sense. So here I've got the front bit, I've got the old outline, and I've also got extra depth lines to join up our object. So from this point, we can now build up the 3D parts to our clock. So using our freeform shape tool. So to get back to this tool, you need to go onto Home, find the line box and choose the freeform shape tool. Remember, when you use this, you just need to click on each corner and the straight lines will already be following you along. Once you've joined up those edges, a filled shape will be created for you. So for now I'm just going to keep it to the same blue and then I can show you how to change that later. So there's my first one, okay, and then we're just going to do that for every side of our shape. Now as you can see, that one's a bit wonky, so I'm going to redo it. It's probably because I've forgotten my red guideline on that part. Okay, so you just click back on your freeform like so. You're just going to fill in those gaps. Now I want you to take your time. I don't want you to be as quick as me. One, I've done this quite a few times, and two, I am slightly rushing it, so there might be a few gaps or wonky edges. But at the end, you should have something that looks like that. Once you're happy with this shape, you need to select all the blue shapes. So to do that, you click, hold the Shift key on your keyboard and select all the blue boxes that you have drawn. Once you're happy with that, you're then going to click on Format, Send Backward, click the down arrow and click Send to Back. Okay, and there you'll be left with your red guide marks. From here you can delete them. So click on each individual one and press the Delete key on your keyboard. Okay, the reason we're not going to just scoop over all of them is because our shapes are still behind the isometric paper, and that would select them as well and delete them. So once you've got rid of your red lines, click on the isometric paper, do the same thing, Format, Send Backwards, Send to Back. Okay, so now we've got our basic shape. So when we do our clocks, when we design our clocks, we also design a base. So we're also going to draw an isometric base onto our clock. So to do this, we're going to do our guidelines again. I really probably shouldn't have deleted all the lines because we could have reused them. So I've made a new one and I'm going to change it to red with a nice thickness of 2 1/4. Now, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your first line needs to be around about, so it's 15 long. So I'm going to make mine 25. You can do yours. You can do yours any size you want. Okay, but for this tutorial, I'm going to do mine around about 25, and I might make it smaller, but we'll see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Yeah, I'm a little bigger. 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 25. Okay, so there's my 25 line. I want to make sure it's central to this, which means it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, so it'll be about there with that. But I also want it to come out. So I'm going to follow. Actually, we'll just stick with that for now. So I've got 25 along there. Okay, so I've now got a line that's 25 long. And you can easily copy and paste this as well because you'll need 2 of them. Now to do the width. Okay, so I'm going to have mine about 12 long going the other direction. So I'm just going to go from here. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So for now, what we're just doing is we're just doing 2, well, we're doing 4 lines really in total. We're doing 2 long lines and 2 shorter lines. Okay, so once you're happy with your 2 sizes, we can now start to build our base. So for me, what I'm doing is I'm doing 5 squares around my shape. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I think that's in the middle, but you'd have to count the squares to make sure. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that will line up. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I might have done 1 extra square. 5, 10, 11. Yeah, I need 11. Okay, so how I'm doing this, and I'll show you again, is I'm going to go use this line over here. Okay, so if it helps, it might be best to do a guideline of 5. Okay, so this will help you line it up. So there's my guideline of 5, and what I want is along this line here, the edge of my line to meet up there. And on this side, the same thing. So I line that up like that, which represents the same distance, and that means along this line, the other edge should be there. So as you can see, that will be 5 against 5. Okay, I'll keep that measure stick over there. Future. So now I know that how far I want this one to go out is about here. Okay, we now know that that is 5 diagonally down from the edge, which means that one should then go about there. To finish off this rectangle, I could then join them like so. Yeah, so it looks a bit weird. Oop. It looks a bit weird for now, but let me take you through that again. So you're doing 2 long lines, 2 slightly shorter lines, and then you're going to have a measure stick. So the measure stick will help you line up those lines so you can make it even around your clock. Okay, so your base will be around your clock evenly. So for me, I chose a gap of 5 squares. So that's why mine is 5 long, and I could line up my lines to match. Okay, so as we can see, it comes off the paper. So what I'm going to do before we move on is I'm going to select the entire thing to move it. So what you do is you click and drag. Okay, and now I'm selecting everything. I then obviously want to keep it on the isometric lines, so I'm going to grab, I'm still holding it, and I'm just dragging it over so it actually hits the isometric paper, and I've kept those red lines on the isometric lines. Okay, so that is my base. So as we did in the first tutorial, you can use this as a starting point. So we can do it one of 2 ways. You can keep it as a rectangle, or you can edit the shape. So for example, I might want to cut off the corners. Yep, so what I'm going to do is make some new edges which cuts off those corners like so. And then I'm going to adjust my guidelines to fit that shape to see if I actually like it. Yep. There we go. So that's my shape with little corners on. I kind of like it, so I am going to keep it, but you're welcome to make it smaller. You can cut off bigger edges. You could keep it rectangular, square base. The base, you can do whatever you want to do. Okay, so once you are happy with the base, then what we're going to do is now fill in the shape. So you need to have your free form shape tool. And what I'm going to do is, to avoid gaps, I'm going to go along the whole entire red line. Like so. And then I'm going to send that shape to the back, followed by the isometric paper, like so. So as you can see, my shape is now there, and the red lines are still on top. So now I'm going to select all my red lines. So remember, click, hold down the Shift key on your keyboard, and we're going to click on every single red line. Once you're happy, you can then drag it down. So I'm going to drag mine down 1, 2, because I want my base to be quite thick. Okay, so as you can see, that's now quite thick. Yeah, so once you've lined that up and you're happy with it, you can unclick. So for this next part, I'm going to remove lines that I don't need. So I don't need this line here or this line there. Okay, because you wouldn't be able to see that part of the shape. I'm then going to use my depth lines, and I'm going to copy and paste them on the additional corners that I have, like there and there. Okay, so these are just guidelines. Then I'm going to grab my freeform shape, and I'm going to fill in those missing shapes, like so. Yep, and the last one. Like so. Okay, once you're happy with all those shapes, again, click them all and send them to the back, followed by the isometric paper. Then we're going to delete the red lines by you clicking on them and pressing the delete button on your keyboard. So now you should have something that looks something like that. Okay, not gonna lie, this corner looks a bit weird. One, two, three, four. Ah, that's why. So I don't want that's fine. So I made a little mistake. I forgot one of the corners. So just for yeah, so it really should look like something like that. Ish. With a straight line. So as you can see, I made a mistake because I was rushing. But that's fine. Let me just quickly work out what I want to do. It's something like that's the shape I need. Okay, so I just forgot to cut off that bit of my shape, like so. Obviously, normally I'd go fix it, but for the purpose of this demonstration, I obviously want to move on and show you the next thing. Okay, so now that you're happy with the outline of your shape, we can now start to add some colour. So the best way to do this really would be to copy those like 3 sides of your shape, maybe even 4, like so. Yeah, so this is so I can work out the different colours that I want and the different shades of that colour. So remember when you were doing tonal shading, you look at the lights and darks of a colour. So that's why I've grabbed these 3 shapes. So just to completely make it obvious, I'm going to make my clock green. So to change the colour of your shape, you need to go to select what you want to change the colour of, press Format, and go to Shape Fill. So like I said, I'm going to make mine green. Let's go bright green. Okay, so that's my main colour. On top is where the light's more likely to hit it, so I want that one to be lighter. So I'm going to go shape fill, down arrow, and more fill colours. Here I can adjust, stay on the same colour, but adjust it so that it's be lighter or darker. So for me, I only want to go slightly lighter, and you can see the difference here. So this was your old one, and this is your new colour. And press OK. For this side, it's going to get less light, so I want this one to be darker. So I've started off with the same base colour. I'm going to go shape fill, more fill colours, and using this arrow, I'm going to make it slightly darker. Once I'm happy with the colour, I'm going to press OK. Actually, I'm going to make that a little bit darker because it's not as obvious, like so. Okay, so now I've got my colour swatch. The next bit will be quite a lot easier. So you click on, so say we're going to do the light colours first. Click on everything that's on top, like so. Go Format, Shape Fill, down arrow, eyedropper tool, and then you click on the colour that you want. So again, top, down arrow, eyedropper, and choose the colour that you want. Eyedrop, like so. Now this one's a different shape. This is a different side of the shape. So my eyedropper is going to go on this side because it matches. Okay, this way you don't have to think about it too much. You can see that, okay, this one is on top, so I'm going to go for the on top colour. This one's on the side, so I'm going to go for the side colour. And this one's the face, so I'm going to match the face colour. Okay, so that's how you're going to fill out your shape. So I'm just going to pause the video now, and I'm going to quickly speed through all the colours before I can show you how to add any detail. Okay. Yeah, so take a moment now to add some colours, like I'm doing. Oh, made it blue. See, got to be careful. Now this one's different. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for the same dark colour, and I'm going to adjust it even more and make it even darker. Yeah, not much, but like so. Okay, just because it's another point. Okay, it's further away from the light. Yeah, so we've got something that should look like that. Actually, I want to make that lighter. So let's undo that. No. I'll go in between, like so. Okay. There we go. So that's in between the two. Right, so once you're happy with all the colours and if you've still got time left, then you can start to add some detail. Now, you can do this in a variety of ways. So you could add a circle to represent where the hands are going to go. So in that respect, you could also draw a line and draw the hands of a clock. So I'm going to make mine black. I'm going to do them really thick. Yes, that's my 12 o'clock. Need to adjust this so it's actually central. Don't want that as dark. Could make that gold. Yeah. So I've got my clock hand. I'm going to set and my minute hand. And I also want to include a second hand, like what counts the seconds of your clock. Yeah, so join that up like so. And I'll just put that like that. Why won't you join up? There we go. Just going to bring that to the front. So my second hand, I actually want to make this smaller, so make it red, thinner, like so. Okay, so I mean it's just a quick rough job, but you get the idea. If you want to add some decoration, obviously you can add lines, you know, follow down those isometric patterns. So you can use the isometric paper still to make sure your lines are straight. And then you could always add any extra patterns to your clock. I know mine are still blue, but you can obviously change your colours to whatever you want to. When you add your design. Like so. Okay, so just use the rest of this time, finish off your Art Deco clock, add colour to it, patterns, maybe some clock hands as well. You don't have to add the clock hands, you could just have something simple like this, where you show where you want the clock hands to go. Okay. But yeah, don't forget to send in your work to your teachers, because I would love especially to see your final result. Okay, so thank you guys.